The boys are back in town. The boys are back. Oh, we are live. Your boys are back in town. The Minnesota Twins in town for Game 3 of the American League Divisional Series. They are home looking to take control of the series, which is now 1-2-1. And we're going to talk about it. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, and welcome back to Locked On Twins. I'm your host, Brandon Warren, and you can find me on Twitter. I don't think I would, at Brandon_WARNE, which you can see on your screen if you're watching live on YouTube. We're doing a live show, and we may do some more live shows as the playoffs continue. We'll see what the audience looks like, the numbers and all that fun stuff. But I love doing the live shows because also I don't have to upload them. They're automatically there. So pretty exciting, but thank you so much for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please feel free to be active in the comments here on these live shows, especially because assuming the comments are good, and usually they are, I will be active in fielding those questions and that kind of fun stuff too. If you have questions you want answered, feel free to shoot them in there, and we can call an audible as we go. I certainly have plenty of things prepared for you all, but that doesn't mean that we can't deviate. Also, to this episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Twins Astros at Target Field. Game 3 on Tuesday. It's a 3:07 first pitch. Sonny Gray against Christian Javier. And you can catch every pitch of the Twins' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Twins. Some quick news and notes to get to. We're into segment 1, news du jour, news of the day and how it relates to the Minnesota Twins. First item, Dusty says Yainer Diaz will be DHing in Game 3. So, few curiosities there. It means Yordan Alvarez will be playing left field in a much bigger left field than he is accustomed to. Obviously, we know about the Crawford boxes at Minute Maid and all that. Also, too, it essentially means that, any pinch hit opportunity that's done for Martin Maldonado is going to have a lot more wheels turning with their primary backup catcher in the game already. It's in a lot of ways, it's the opposite of how the Twins have handled their catching situation so far, with Jeffers starting and playing every game so far this postseason. That's more of an offensive-minded catcher who's, I'd still say Jeffers is pretty good defensively. I don't know enough about Diaz, but I know Martin Maldonado plays every day for the exact reason that he is considered a defensive wizard, changes the complexity of the game from behind the plate. And so, yeah, there'll be a lot of moving parts here because Javier is a fly ball pitcher as well. I might have tried this with, let's say, Framber Valdez on the mound. You got a ground ball pitcher, smaller ballpark. You got Yordan. But I digress. It also means, too, that Michael Brantley probably won't be a factor, at least not right away, which is huge because Brantley's just a dang good hitter. So we'll see what happens there. Dusty also said Justin Verlander likely not back in Game 4 on short rest. Now, certainly the situation there is fluid because as of right now, we don't know if Game 4 will be do or die or who it will be do or die for. It will be do or die for somebody. Is it going to be do or die for the Twins? Knock on wood, hopefully not. But if it's do or die for the Astros, I really do wonder if that's an ironclad thing. We'll see, I guess. But for now, it appears like the plan is not to be the case. Astros also making the news today, dismissing their assistant general manager, Bill Furcus, and farm director, Sarah Goodrum, reported by Chandler Rome of The Athletic. Not much intel here, but it is curious timing. Assistant GM and and farm director at this time of season. I know Dana Brown, getting some footing as GM, but that just struck me as a bit strange of a move to be making at this time. So we'll see if anything comes out. I'm not saying I have any information or anything as far as it being an unusual move, but to me, all I'm saying is the timing strikes me as a little bit strange. As we're recording now, the Atlanta Braves look primed to possibly go down 2-0 in their series against the defending NL pennant winners, the Phillies. And so that happening now only kind of feeds into a take that we've kind of been talking about. It's kind of been the topic of the day. Anytime Kenny Rosenthal writes a column, people are going to talk about it. So Kenny's column for today at The Athletic, basically, I'll read the headline because it'll lay the seed better than I can. Does MLB's playoff format already need changes as higher seeds lose advantage? So 5-day layoff for the Rangers, who are down 2-0 against the Orioles are down to the Rangers. Dodgers lost to the Diamondbacks, got smoked. Kershaw getting absolutely crushed, chased in the first inning. But Rosenthal follows with a second straight elimination for the Braves in particular would generate discussion about the fairness of the current postseason format, which began last season. And he acknowledges that there's no easy answers, but my gripe is that, first of all, you have to let this thing play out more than just 2 years before you decide to yank the plug on it. You also have to step back and take stock of the fact that higher seeded teams losing in the playoffs is a feature, not a bug. And I tweeted that earlier today. What it basically puts MLB in a position of is this odd vortex of the more teams they can add, the more excitement they inject into the game, the more the trade deadline becomes excited because teams are buying, and more playoff revenue, more games, more commercials, more tickets, more merchandise, yada, yada, yada. But does that come at an expense of those truly great teams having almost a week-long layoff? I don't know the right answer to that. Was the wild card more fair when it was just a one and done? Honestly, I think you play 162 games, you really don't want a one and done. Do you go back to just 4 teams on each side making it? Wild card plays the best team. You can maybe change the whole, do you face the division that you come from if you're first and fourth seed? I don't really like that either. I do like expanded playoffs just due to the excitement factor. I mean, the playoffs, if we fully embrace the fact that the way they are now, that it's a team getting hot and just being an enjoyable run, it may not always be the best team winning or the best regular season team winning. I feel like we've gotten close enough to embracing that now that looking back on it and being like, oh, hey, this isn't fair. I don't know. It just strikes me as kind of precious. So I don't know. I wasn't feeling this article, and I'd love to hear if you're in the comments and reading or watching. I don't know. That just fell upon deaf ears for me in the fact that I just you've already embraced bringing the playoffs this far. Why dial it back? Again, lower seeds winning is a feature, not a bug, but we'll see what happens. Braves down 4-0 at last check in the bottom of the 6th. So things obviously not going great for them. And picking up 3 straight against the defending NL champions would be pretty difficult. Another really good article in The Athletic today, Chandler Rome. We mentioned Chandler before. We love Chandler as long as he's not writing stories about the Astros beating the Twins. So, but he really, and I don't want to give away too much because The Athletic is a paywall. If you want to support their stuff, go ahead. If you don't. But if you have the means and want to, I highly recommend it. But Carlos Correa now is like the thorn in the side of the Astros. Just like everything in that first game to me was just perfect. And we'll come back and talk about, the last game, the most recent game, ending the game with that incredible defensive play, just pounding the baseball. He's hitting over 500 in the series. That it's that heel turn. It very much feels like that classic heel entrance, like to really dig into my bag of tricks. Hulk Hogan in 1996 going heel and becoming part of the New World Order. Coming in, doing these things in front of this Houston crowd, and they boo him besides, like that's gotta feel so good, and so good for the guy who, has already kind of been fueled by that hate, that angst, that anger that has come with being part of that Astros core that won the World Series, obviously under a shroud of a lot of different clouds of controversy, I guess would be a better way to put it. But just highly recommend Chandler, what he wrote here. And just, it was kind of how, it's going to be really, really hard for the Astros to figure out a way to stop him. The fact that the Twins rode Correa and to Pablo Lopez to win, to steal a game in Houston. I don't think you can feel much better about your chances if you're the Twins, short of somehow having swept in Houston. Coming back home, the Twins have embraced breaking the 0-for-18 streak, breaking the winning a game in the division series streak, if you want to call it that, winning on the road, you name it. The Twins have embraced these streaks and really just continue to play a strong run of baseball at the end of the season into the postseason. And but yeah, anyway, I can't recommend Chandler's thing about Correa enough. He's talking about how Correa is going to be a thorn in their side for the series, and that was front and center on Sunday. Also, one more article that I'd like to get to, just the lead of Aaron Gleeman's article from Monday, and this the lead. And I'm not giving away anything because Aaron should be compensated for his work, but the lead is just perfect. No more historic streaks. No more but. No more dark clouds looming over everything. Finally, after 2 decades of short, miserable Octobers, the Minnesota Twins are simply a quality team making a playoff run without the emotional baggage blocking fans from experiencing in full color the highs and lows they've craved. And where I keep coming back to is the lows they've craved. You watch this team and you watch the Twitter presence. There was a large sect of the fan base that craved that negativity, that gravitated to that negativity, to the team that was below 500 right around the break, to the team that was chasing Cleveland for the last time of the year right around that time. Baseball is an inherently negative game, and we'll talk about that when we come back. But yes, there were lows that people craved. And I can't wrap my brain around it. But that lead for me, like if you needed any more proof that it would be wise for you to subscribe if that was something you were into. Great story. All I want to say is a great story. I'm not trying to sell subscriptions. I'm not trying to do anything like that. But wonderful lead, wonderful story. And I think it has a pretty good grasp of where fans are at. Final item is Rhys Hoskins taking batting practice in Clearwater. That's where the Phillies train in spring training, hoping to get back for a possible World Series. And I think we all hope, at least everyone in this chat outside of Locked On Astros, hopes that if the Twins are going to see anybody in the World Series, Phillies and Rhys Hoskins, that would be, pretty cool. But yeah, that if the Twins get to the World Series, certainly a good problem to have. We'll come back with our second segment. We'll go into the bullpen. We'll look back at how we got to this point going into Game 3. We'll talk a little bit about the first 2 games. Also to a few little bits and pieces about how historic the Twins winning at Minute Maid Park on Sunday was. We'll be right back. All right, so we do have to talk about our friends over at Gametime. We love our friends over at Gametime. If you're going to download the app, if you're not, it's gametime.co. So make sure you do that. But otherwise, download the app because that's where it's at. If you've ever had a frustrating ticket buying experience, and what could be worse than trying to buy tickets at playoff time, you can find last-minute tickets. You're looking for good deal. Good deals can be hard to come by. I know the marketplace this time around is a lot more competitive than it was during the wild card series. But regardless, if you want to go and you want to put up the cash, you do not need to worry, because Gametime has you covered. You can browse through the Gametime app in your area. You get, Minneapolis, St. Paul, or Fargo, Moorhead, the areas that you are in. It will find events for you, concerts and ball games and comedy shows. Whatever you are looking for is it's right up their alley. They are the only app, Gametime, that gives you peace of mind with your in-app purchase. You can see the view from where you're going to be sitting before you buy it, but also the prices show up front, everything. No secret fees, no hidden fees, nothing like that. You get the lowest price guarantee, and they have deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. And the Gametime guarantee guarantees, because it's a guarantee after all, that you'll get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less elsewhere, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets online with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB, all one word, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, so we are coming back into the bullpen segment number 2, Locked On Twins Live, getting you prepared for Game 3 of the ALDS. It's going to be Sonny Gray. It's going to be Christian Javier in the ALDS at Target Field. 3:07 first pitch on Tuesday. Catch every pitch of the Twins hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Twins. Hang out with Corey and Danny. Definitely enjoying when I've had to listen to or gotten to listen to games to this point. I was out driving at the beginning of the game last night to pick up a couple things for my family. And yeah, I can't rave enough about this audio team. So yeah, again, check them out, SiriusXM, SXM.com. Thanks for making SXM app. Sorry, easy for me to say. Yeah, make sure you check back later in the series. We're going to continue to do some crossover stuff with the Astros guys. Astros guys hanging out in the chat here for a split second, and now are I think probably gone. But yeah, we'll be chipping it up and chopping it up with H-Town Wheelhouse and those guys. So hopefully it's after a victory in Game 3. Quick look back to Game 1. Twins lose 6-4 in Houston. Made a very valiant comeback late with a 3-run homer by Jorge Polanco, followed by a solo shot by Royce Lewis. 4-run 7th inning gets the Twins to within a run. Couldn't get anything done against Verlander. Hector Neris gets jumped all over, gives up a pair of homers in a span of 18 pitches. And then Brian Abreu and Ryan Presley came in, did what they do, shut down the Twins, and gave the Astros that important 1-0 lead in the series. Now, with that said, Twins come back Game 2. It's a 1 spot in the first inning on a Carlos Correa double. Kyle Farmer, not just a guy on the roster, homers to left with Willie Castro coming across. And then the Twins bunt and then drive in a couple runs to make it 5-0 in the 5th. 6-0 in the 7th as Eddie Julien singles home. Royce Lewis, Correa gets thrown out at the plate, and then a Yordan Alvarez homer off Brock Stewart late wraps up the scoring, but Twins cap with a 6-2 win. Come back home in pretty good shape. The Twins won Sunday's game. It was October 8th, which I don't know. It's the latest the Twins have won a game in any postseason since 2002, when they also beat the Angels at the Metrodome on October 8th. They have not won a game later than October 8th in any year since Game 7 of the 1991 World Series. So that's something to keep an eye on. Hometown fans going to be rocking all kinds of crazy stuff, but there has not been a Twins playoff win later than October 8th in over 30 years. So let that sink in. I do want to talk a little bit about the Astros because we all know how good they've been at home in their LDS series. So since joining the American League, which has been a little over a decade now, 10 seasons. So I think part of it, I did have a bit of confusion with, they lost to the A's in 2020, but technically it was a home game at a neutral site. So at Minute Maid Park, the Astros are 13-2 in the ALDS in that building. The Twins beat them on Sunday, and Kansas City beat them on October 12th, 2015. So almost exactly 8 years to the day. 13-2. It's an .867 winning percentage. The Astros have hit .288 as a team, an .891 OPS. They've averaged 5.73 runs per game with a .293 ERA. That's a pretty easy way to go 13-2 in a 15-game sample. Opposing teams have averaged just 3.07 runs per game with an OPS of, get this, 610. So you're looking at almost a 300-point OPS gap and a 3 runs per game scored differential gap, whatever you want to say. So the Twins going in and doing what they did, and we coined it as a largely stress-free victory in the postcast on Sunday night. That should be applauded because, it's really hard to go into Houston in this era of Houston Astros baseball and do this sort of thing. Just absolutely incredible. Again, they lost to the A's in 2020, but it was a neutral location. So it doesn't count, obviously, as Minute Maid Park or whatever. But, Twins prepared, coming back game 3, 10-10, and it's a 3:07 first pitch on Tuesday. Then they'll follow up with game 4 on Wednesday, and I think we're all hoping that'll be it. Twins can get all rested up and ready for an ALCS trip. But we'll see. I'm eagerly anticipating what's to come, and I think the nerves have mostly subsided because I don't know how much I actually am really that concerned. Our friend Bob says he read where Manfred was interested in adding a 7th team to the playoffs. How in the world would that work? He wants less teams, not more. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would work. I think this has got to be it. This is not. We don't want this to be a situation where it's like the college football playoff where they want people to keep adding teams. No, not interested in that. Jay Wick says, in other words, Rosenthal is upset there's actual parity. In theory, we had to use 2 of our best pitchers immediately, so that puts us at a disadvantage immediately. I think interesting point there too by our friend Jay Wick 13. Let's do this. Let's come down the home stretch. We have got a massive avalanche of people excited to talk about how they're feeling. So we'll take a quick second and come back and talk to those people. Okay, so we are pretty excited. We got the Twins coming down the pipe here. It's a 3:07 first pitch on Tuesday, and I asked fans for a temperature check. How are you feeling? If you're in the chat right now and want to answer, again, feel free because I can add that as well. But here's what some of our friends had to say. Ryan, Boldy Season, says he is deactivating if the Twins don't take the series. I would welcome that, but that's for different reasons because I would love to see the Twins take the series. But not having him in my mentions for a while would be kind of nice. Devlin says he's feeling good as it is essentially a best of 3, and we will have Sonny and Pablo in 2 of them. I think the Twins will advance. And yeah, I mean, if Pablo can come back for 5, then you do have to feel pretty good about starting 2 of the guys who swept the Blue Jays for you. So yeah, good point there. Friend Zach Amundsen, a softball teammate of mine, great dude. He says, team was underperforming during the first half, and we knew this team was different. I give you all the damn credit for getting others on board. Fired up is an understatement. And yeah, I mean, I being negative for the sake of being negative is the easiest way to be a lazy analyst. If you are negative for the sake of being negative, you're going to more often than not be right, because baseball's a negative sport. You are going to have people so happy that you were wrong, because you being wrong and negative means the team won. And so fans aren't really that upset about your receipts because, hey, they won. They're not going back to say you were a moron. And yeah, it takes no meaningful analysis to be just negative. So I have really enjoyed the comeuppance on Twitter of people putting them in their place, as far as, you said a lot of inflammatory things, angry things, untrue things during the season, and people have taken notice. I love that level. That is the kind of hashtag accountability I can get behind. Vitsky says, I really think the Twins can clean this up in 4 with the pitching advantage, just need to execute. Yeah, well, it'll come down to a game 4 pitching matchup too, because with Sonny and Pablo burnt in back-to-back games, the Twins will have to get creative in game 4 regardless. Now, will it be up 2-1, down 2-1? I think we all know what we hope for, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out. Connor Jones says, I still can't believe this is real life. The Vikings are complete. And it isn't even affecting him in the slightest. October is fun for the first time since I was 7. Yeah. It's nice to feel like if the Twins lose, they still had a good season and a lot of people are going to be on board with it, but you feel good about their chances to win. Festa Fanatic says, watching meaningful October Twins baseball for the first time in my life is so fun. Absolutely indescribable how amazing the wild card games were to be at. And I'm looking for that energy to continue into this one and be ramped up. That is going to be such a stinking loud stadium. I'm hoping to get out to one of the games live, but still a few things up in the air. But with that said, it's obviously going to be pretty exciting. Josiah asks, how good does it feel for you to be saying all season that this team was good and now they're playing meaningful games in October? I mean, I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard, but yeah, no, I did sense that this team was capable of something like this, and I'm glad to see they're actually playing to that level. So to that end, yes, I feel vindicated. I'm not going to pat myself on the back. Maybe if they win, the pennant, heck yeah, we'll have a what's the opposite of a roast? Everybody can lavish compliments upon me. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, PKZED. I don't know how you would even say that. It's abbreviated. So much fun to be relevant during the postseason. Very excited when the Twins are batting and utterly nervous every inning the Twins pitch. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to tell you why, because I literally, for whatever reason, I am all clammed up the half innings they're pitching. And then when they're hitting, I'm still tense because this offense has stretches where, they hit into a million double plays or don't hit with the bases loaded. But that the concept of like the Twins just cannot go behind while they're hitting allows me to kind of relax a little bit. So I agree with our friend. It's a lot more tense when the Twins are pitching than when they're hitting. Well, that is a wrap for this edition of Locked On Twins. Thanks for hanging out with us live, watching us on the replay, listening to us on your favorite podcast platform. Give us a like, a 5-star review, a thumbs up, a subscribe, a high five, whatever is the option for you to give us some praise. If we've earned it, I would love to have that from you. But don't forget to swing back. We're going to have some new stuff tomorrow. Still working out some details on if we'll be talking to the Astros guys before, after the game, what exactly. But until then, get some rest, folks, because this is going to be a fun one. In a word or two, Twins fans, buckle up. This is Locked On Twins.